In this video, we're going to be wrapping up our study of quadratics. This is our third method to solving quadratics. If you remember, the first one was way back in chapter 6 with factoring. Problem was factoring didn't always work. Second method was 10.1b with solving by completing the square. And our third and final method is solving by the quadratic formula. Completing the square and quadratic formula always work. So as you can see on the screen, there's your quadratic formula. X equals opposite b, or negative b, plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac, all over 2a. You'll see this part under the radical, b squared minus 4ac. That is what's called the discriminant, just what's under the radical, not the actual radical house, the number that's inside. The radical, or the discriminant, the number under the radical, tells you something special about the solutions. So it actually tells you the type and number of solutions. If your discriminant is positive, you'll have two real solutions. If your discriminant is negative, you'll have two complex solutions, which means you'll have an I in your answer. If your discriminant is 0, then you'll actually just have one real solution. So your three steps are to find the discriminant first, the b squared minus 4ac. Once you find that, you're going to then take that number in a and b and plug it into the formula, and then you're going to simplify and split it up. So the first example we're going to do is one that has just to find the type and number of solutions. So again, this is referencing the discriminant. Well, before I can do any discriminant, or before I can do any quadratic formula, first thing I need to do is find a, b, and c. So in this one, a is the number in front of x squared, b is the number in front of x, and c is the constant. So I have 3, 11, negative 7. Now I'm going to take that and I'm going to plug it into my b squared minus 4ac. So I have 11 squared minus 4 times 3 times negative 7. You can put that whole thing in your calculator in one go or in two pieces like I have. So I got 121 plus 84, which gave me 205. And what I really care about is that since 205 is a positive number, my type and number of solutions is going to be 2 real solutions. So type is real solutions and the number is 2 of them. Now my second example, this is one that is actually solving a quadratic formula. So I have my formula. First thing that I need to do is get it equal to 0. So the quadratic formula depends on something being in standard form. Ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So the first thing that I have to do is move everything over to one side. Now I chose to move everything to the right just because then I wouldn't have negative numbers. However, if you move the 12x and the 9 over to the left, if you subtracted them, you would get the same answer in the end. So now I have it equal to 0. And so now I'm going to go through and I'm going to do my step 1, find the discriminant. So I have my a, b, and c. A is 4, b is 12, c is 9. If you moved everything to the other side, your a, b, and c would be different signs, but you'd still come out with the same thing. So step 1, find the discriminant. So I'm going to plug in b squared minus 4ac, plug in my numbers, simplify them, and if you put that thing in your calculator, you get out that you have a discriminant of 0. Now, a discriminant of 0 doesn't mean anything other than you're just going to have one solution. So then my second step is to plug into my formula, my quadratic formula. And so I plug it in, negative 12 plus or minus the square root 0 all over 2 times 4. I'm going to start simplifying that thing, which is step 3. And so I have negative 12 plus or minus 0 over 8. And then that will simplify to negative 12 over 8, which then gives me a final answer of negative 3 over 2. And that is my only answer. Again, that's because my discriminant was 0.